There's a moment every entrepreneur hits. You're working harder than you ever have. The calendar is packed, but the inbox feels endless. That to-do list never gets shorter, and somehow the business still isn't growing the way that it should be. But the problem isn't effort. The problem is leverage. Welcome to the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, John Davidson, and every week I'm sitting down with founders and top performers who have found that lever. The hire, the system, that mindset shift that changed everything. This show is for the business owner who's ready to stop being the bottleneck and start being the architect. Let's get into it. All right, welcome to another episode of the Leverage Podcast. I'm your host, John Davidson, and today we are talking about building a business that really impacts people, especially in DFW. And what we're talking about is HKM Construction. I have co-owners with me today, Eddie Herrera and Gabriel Kaiser. Welcome to the podcast, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, John?
Good. How are you, John?
Doing fantastic. I appreciate you joining me today. Now, today we're talking about your construction business, and there's a lot of them in DFW, right? There's a lot of insurance claims. There's a lot of hail hitting houses, hitting the ground around here. And so I want to highlight exactly what makes you guys special and the incredible business that you've built. So why don't we go back to the beginning? You guys are co-owners of this business. I'll start with Eddie, and then Gabriel will go to you. How did you guys form this business to start?
Well, I've kind of always been in construction. I've done a lot of commercial construction. I was one of my first jobs as a 14-year-old kid. I was working construction, so that's kind of always what I've always focused on mainly. I met Gabriel at a martial arts gym in Hearst, and he has been an insurance adjuster for over 10 years, I think like 15 years. He's always been in that world. So we kind of just hit it off, became good friends, and I kind of kept bugging him about starting a construction company because we were working with other construction companies, helping them with the insurance process and doing all that. So me in my head, I was like, well, let's just do it for ourselves. And yeah, that's how this thing got started.
And Gabriel, from your perspective, working in the insurance industry, having a friend that's in the construction industry, obviously these things are very closely tied, right? What was going on in your mind when you realized this opportunity to join up with Eddie and launch HKM?
Yeah, no, it's an opportunity that I had for a long time because I would always get just random jobs here or there, and I would send them to the various GCs that were my clients, and I would just get a referral or just hand it off because I never wanted to deal with the headache of the client. Actually, I didn't like dealing with homeowners. So that when Eddie came to me, I was like, hey, let's do this construction company thing, and I was like, I really don't want to deal with clients. That's like the bane of my existence. I don't want to pick colors and go through all the details and all of that stuff. And then here we are, we're remodelers and we do like the most detailed work, arguably in a home all the time. But, you come to, I wanted to build a business, which we're still in the process of. It's not where we want it to be. But I was like, I'll take the challenge, and it's been a challenge, but it's been a fun one. So, yeah, originally I was like, I'm not about it and I don't want to be in it that deep, but we're in pretty deep now.
That's awesome. Now, Eddie, there's a lot of construction companies like we talked about. Help our listeners and viewers understand what is your exact focus and what makes you stand out apart from all the other, potential choices that they're looking at when they pull up, construction company in DFW.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, Gabriel having that insurance expertise, that insurance background, that really helps us out a lot. We're able to walk the customer, through the whole process from beginning to end, and that's what I think that's what we are really good at. But I think what we really pride ourselves, me and Gabriel, is like we're both really transparent. We're both honest people. We treat every house as if as if it was our own. Um, we talk to the customer in a way where it's very transparent, like exactly what I'm gonna do, and I want you to be able to trust me because I'm in your home. You know what I mean? We're getting personal here.
Yeah.
I want you to be able to trust me, and I want to be able to trust you. I think that's what really sets us apart. In the beginning, I was trying to just take every single client as I could, and I had to learn we learned a couple lessons the hard way. And now, honestly, if I don't click with the homeowner, or if I feel like they're trying to get over on me, like it's not like a trustworthy connection there, we've learned to start just walking away from people. So I think that's one of the biggest things that we're learning right now, or that I'm learning personally right now, is there's got to be that trust between us and the homeowner.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, especially for business owners. A lot of times we just want to be everything to everybody, right? Because we don't want to miss out
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
on any business.
Mhm.
And what happens once we do niche down a little bit and figure out exactly what our target market is we can become selective. I used to run a business years ago, and sometimes it can look like a luxury. You're like, oh, like you're going to turn away customers. But something that's interesting in business, one of the worst things that can happen, and I'm curious of your experience with this, is when you get a bad client, right? And so then you're working with that person, whether they're not paying or they're not following the process or things like that. And so I think advice, and I'd love you to build on this, Eddie, for business owners is don't worry about getting every client. Try to get the right clients, right?
Mhm. Yeah, because it becomes more of a headache, if you can already feel that, we might not be the best fit. And there's, humans have a lot of different personalities. It's not I'm not going to be the right fit for every homeowner. There's been times where I'm like, hey, Gabe, you might be a better personality fit for this homeowner. Do you want to go and see what you can do over here? Because I'm kind of we're kind of not meshing. So
Sure.
it becomes more problematic, dealing with the bad homeowner that you don't connect with, when you can have 10 other ones that can run smoothly. You're wasting your time on one where you're just going back and forth, and it's making the process even more difficult for you.
Yeah, and it's a great point there as well. Two co-owners with two different personalities and two different backgrounds.
Hmm.
Hey, you talk about personalities. With the both of you, you have an opportunity, whether it's you, Eddie, you're going to appeal to a certain client, and then Gabriel, you may appeal to another client, and that enables you to connect with more people. Gabriel, I want to dig into a little bit of your
Mm-hmm.
insurance background here, because boy, anytime I think any of us hear insurance claim or insurance process, the stress, the anxiety levels go up, right? It's like, what do I
Mm-hmm.
do? What can I do? I'm paying so much money for this thing. They're going to fight me tooth and nail, to give me any money back, typically. But you guys do
Yep.
a great job of really helping the homeowner through this insurance process. Tell me exactly what do you take off of your clients' shoulders and how do you guide them very smoothly through this process that makes it really easy and makes you the right choice uh, to work with?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I would say one of the things that I do that I think helps the most is I set the expectation from the beginning of what's going to happen, and I try to be as thorough as I can to explain the entire process from the very beginning. That way, as we go, it's like reminders of what I already told them instead of me teaching them something new.
Oh, I think your audio faded
Hello?
out a little bit there. All
I
right.
think we cut out.
Yeah, go ahead and come back with us here when you get a chance. I think the last thing is the customer hearing something new. But Eddie, if you want to build on some of that while we're waiting for Gabriel to come back, talk a little bit about how you guys are helping these homeowners through that insurance process.
Yeah, so it comes back to the being transparent with one another. When we do our initial um, walkthrough or initial meeting, we try to outline to the customer what's going to happen when,
Mhm.
you as a homeowner, you probably experience, and I tell them this as well, is you probably experience a claim maybe once or twice in your lifetime, so you're not really experienced into how the process goes. We have probably 10 insurance jobs going on at the moment. So,
Yeah.
we do 10 of these a day, where they do two of these in their lifetime, right? So we sit down with them and we say, hey, this is what's going to happen. Please be patient with us. I always say that right off the bat, because, working with Allstate or a big insurance carrier, the communication might be slow. Just that's something they have to understand from the beginning. Just be patient. Please trust us. This is going to happen here. This is going to happen here. And then, everything, just as long as you trust us with the process, and we stay in good communication, I'll text you once a day, or I'll come continuously follow up with you. They should be go step by step.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, I want to take you back to day one of
Mhm.
when you started this company. I'm always surprised with my business experience. There's time like day one, and it's like, oh, I'm nervous, but I'm excited. And then, you work ahead a couple years, and you're like, I really feel like I know what I'm doing. And then you get a few years down the road from there, and you're like, wow, when I thought I knew what I was doing, I actually had no clue. If you were to talk to yourself on day one of launching HKM, what advice would you give yourself with what you know now?
Honestly, it comes back to selecting the right homeowners. Um, you 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 put a lot of pressure on yourself. Like, oh, you have your own business. A lot of people think it's a luxury to have your own business, but really, it's a lot of work. You have to stay disciplined. You have to stay on top of your stuff. So if you don't have that discipline already, it can be super hard. So, um, I would say, to what I would tell myself is, just stay disciplined, stay with it. Also, is selecting the right customers, right? Because in the beginning, you get kind of not desperate, but you're like, oh, I need this customer, I need this customer.
Yeah,
Um, so it's just learning to be okay with saying no. Is
yeah.
what I would tell myself.
Well, that discipline too also probably goes with your business partners or the other companies that you collaborate with, right? Any construction company, whether you're working with a GC or somebody who has a specialty in
Mhm.
something that you don't provide in-house, how do you apply that same discipline and identify trustworthy business partners to collaborate with to enable you to do more business together?
Yeah, honestly, I've done martial arts pretty much my entire life. You know, I started young, so that teaches you a lot of discipline. And then meeting Gabriel at the gym, I think it went a long way, because he had just started training, and I saw how he just kept showing up and showing up and showing up over and over again. So that really made me trust him. And then just being in a room with like-minded individuals, it really shows you what they're about. Um, it's funny, because me and Gabriel made a bet with one of our friends or acquaintances,
Hmm.
and it was just $100 bet. It was something, a dumb boys bet, you know what I mean? And
Yeah, 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 just for fun. Yeah.
I knew I was about to lose, so I don't want to get into details of what the the bet was, but
Sure. Yeah.
that night I knew I was about to lose, so I immediately sent Gabriel $100, because I was like, bro, I'm about to lose, and I didn't tell him anything. I just sent him $100,
Yeah.
and there was like five of us that were in that bet, and one of our friends, he never said anything. We knew he lost, but he never said anything. We confronted him about the $100, and he never paid us. So after that, he was kind of trying to get into business with us, or partner up or collaborate.
Yeah.
And after that, I was like, no, we can't trust this guy. We can't trust him with $100. We can't trust him with thousands. You know what I mean?
That's a great point. It's just, those social interactions, right? And, a lot of people say, take somebody golfing before you do business with them, because number one, first of all, you find out if you can stand hanging out with the person for any length of time. Second, golf is a frustrating game. How does this person react to a very frustrating experience? Do they lose their ever-loving mind, or can they brush it off? And then third, what does that scorecard look like? Are you honest about, that bogey on the ninth hole or whatever? You've made it clear that you do a lot of martial arts and you've done it for a while. How does martial arts kind of help you in your business, whether that's reading people, whether that's understanding people, or another way?
I think one of the biggest lessons that martial arts taught me is emotional control, honestly. I fought, we did MMA for a long time, and being in the cage when you are getting beat up, you can't make excuses for yourself. It's easy to just quit. So that goes a long way. And when you're getting beat up, you really have to, stay leveled, stay positive. And you can't let yourself get angry. You can't let yourself get sad in the moment. You kind of just have to keep pushing forward. So that's one of the biggest things, just emotional control. Because if when everything is going bad, which it will at one point, you have to just stay level and just keep grinding, and keep something we say in jiu-jitsu a lot is improve your position. So as long as you're like doing something to improve your position, something to move forward, or it could be just a small step, as long as you're doing something towards it instead of dwelling on what went wrong, being solution minded and knowing that you can overcome something, that goes a long way. Yeah,
that's really well said. I love that perspective of improve your position, because especially when you're dealing with any business that has to do with homes, there are and weather and I don't know, regulations in the area.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that aren't in your control, that you really just can't dwell on. You can't control everything, and you have to be okay with that. If it's gonna rain today, you have a roof replacement to do. I mean, you can't stop the rain. You just say, okay, schedule it for tomorrow, no big deal. Or maybe we're busy tomorrow, schedule it for next week. There's nothing you can do about it. So learning to control what you can and letting go of what you can't.
Yeah, Gabriel, welcome back. What we're discussing here with Eddie is how, what he has learned from martial arts that has also applied to business. From your perspective in the gym, what have you learned from life outside of work that has really assisted you in your business?
Yeah, for sure. Martial arts is a huge part of my life in general. It's always tweaking, just showing up, even if you don't feel good. The discipline, when you're there to get the most out of it, you have to not just be there, but you have to be focused, actually thinking about what you're doing to improve. And it's just made me, I think, a more consistent person in general. And, I always tell people I watch too much anime to give up. So, being in the gym is like that, where I go to die, a little bit every day. And it makes it easier to not die, it feels like, when you're outside the gym. So I think it's helped a ton for sure. And Eddie's been a huge part of that, because he's kind of, even though I'm older than him, in that regard, he's, been around much longer. So I always looked up to him and one of our other close friends. So it was nice to also have that, and as a business partner and a training buddy, So it's been great, and yeah, great mentally for sure.
Fantastic. Well, I'm looking forward to getting into some additional insights on your business, how you've created leverage to scale your business. But before we do that, let's listen to a message from our sponsor, Sphere Rocket.
Business owners and entrepreneurs will place a proven executive assistant VA for just $4 to $8 an hour, and if they don't perform, you don't pay. Imagine freeing up 20 plus hours a week by someone handling your most time-consuming tasks like admin work, managing emails, scheduling meetings, and so much more. This one hire could transform your productivity and give you back the time you need to focus on growing your business. At Sphere Rocket VA, we make this possible in as little as 7 days. We'll place a proven executive assistant VA in your business for just $4 to $8 an hour, and your VA will take over day-to-day administrative tasks, help manage your email and calendar, follow up with past clients, giving you back 20 plus hours a week so you can increase your sales and even enjoy more personal time. And here's the best part. If they don't give you back 20 plus hours a week in the first month, you don't pay Sphere Rocket a dime. We've done this for thousands of business owners, and now it's your turn to see the results. Click the link around this video to schedule a demo and discover how this one hire can completely change how you run your business. Remember, if within 45 days the VA doesn't perform, you don't pay.
All right, we are back here with Eddie and Gabriel of HKM Construction, and we're talking about the lessons they have learned both in their business and beyond their business to help scale their businesses. Eddie, first question for you coming back here is for a common issue for business owners is, how do I stop being the bottleneck, right? A lot of people are operators, and so they have the ability to do something at a high level, and so they start a business doing that thing. But being a co-owner, being a founder, being a CEO is a different role than being the person boots on the ground actually delivering the work. What is your advice for business owners to avoid being the bottleneck in their business?
Yeah, honestly, this is something I'm still learning, something I'm still trying to get the hang of, honestly. It's been a big learning lesson for me, to be honest. I'm always the kind of guy, I've always been the kind of guy where you just give me a task and I just go straight forward and I take it head on. So Gabriel has been a big, has taught me a lot in that aspect as well. Because when we were super busy, I think last year we were super busy and I was everywhere. I was trying to do everything on my own almost. Whether it comes to invoicing, all the administrative stuff. We did have some help there for a while, but even then it was hard for me to delegate things. Mm-hmm. So that's been a big learning lesson in the past, I would say 6 to 7 months. It's okay to be able to let go, and but you do need those important people that are willing to step up and help you, and just being able to teach someone something and trusting them that they will be proactive and be able to step up to what you're asking them to do.
Yeah, I was part of a small business years ago. I was the first employee. So kind of maybe close to a Gabriel sort of situation where my friend had started a business and he's just kind of a solopreneur, and then brought me in and we formed a business together. And one of the things that was really challenging, because I felt personal ownership over that business. I didn't have equity or anything, but I was proactive. I believed in it. I was leaning in, in the off hours. Gabriel, it sounds like this is the same for you as a co-owner. But share a little bit about the challenges of how to get the right people, and maybe some advice for owners on, as you're hiring folks. Not everyone's going to believe in the business the way you do, or should I say be as invested in the business as you are, not being an owner. But, what are some tips on being able to hire an effective team and setting a culture so everybody's on the same mission there?
Yeah, so I actually had another business before this one, and where, we mentioned before, we helped other contractors get their clients more money from the insurance companies, obviously for supplemental claims. But with that, for me, it was just organic. I would ask friends of mine in the industry, hey, do you know anybody? Because I needed an estimator, we'll say, to start. So I eventually found a company that I was okay with. You tried one, doesn't work out until you find somebody who you do click with. And unfortunately, my process has always been go through all the crap, and then eventually you find, a gem inside of there, somebody that you can work with. But I think trustworthiness, integrity it's typically been organic until recently when we actually put out hiring ads. But typically we're just friends, acquaintances, somebody that was referred personally is normally how I did it. And then you just find somebody to fill those shoes. So for me, I did all the sales in that company, and then I found somebody to run all of the estimating and communication with the insurance. And then I would still go in the field and inspect if I wanted to. But if I didn't want to, somebody else, I just put another person in that place and just made sure that we had enough. Because and the interesting thing with HKM versus with business is it was commission based. We would take a percentage of whatever additional funds we got. So I had that money to play with for the estimator. Hey, whatever increase we get, you get a percentage of. And then for the inspector, same thing. So I was never losing money. My overhead was very easy to contain because it was built into whatever profit. And then with HKM, we're like, okay, we need to build the system processes, but it's not commission based. We really need somebody on salary. And so that's been kind of the struggle of like when we're talking about the bottleneck, right? But eventually you got to make that leap because it's just going to be an uncomfortable shift. It's going to be tight on funds, but you kind of got to go for broke or you get funding, so we've had friends that have gotten funding from other companies or other investors to help them hire the necessary people, because that does make a huge difference. And marketing, of course, like you always have to be getting sales or there's nothing to, do. Those are two big things. But the bottleneck thing is serious. You need people under you that, will take over those tasks eventually.
Absolutely. Well, coming right back to you here, Gabriel, we talk about leverage in business, right? And so what does leverage mean? Obviously, leverage is, something in your business that has a multiplier effect that gets you beyond just yourself as a solopreneur or just yourself as a two-man team, and can really enable a business to actually scale and create that multiplier effect. In the construction business, and specifically with HKM, what are levers that you have discovered, whether that might be people, systems, relationships, or technology? What has really been that multiplier in your business?
Partnerships, for sure. Partnerships is the biggest one with other just industry partners. So right, for us, since I like to say we didn't niche down, we actually niched up. We became GCs and are doing everything. Which wasn't our plan because, like we were saying, it's more complex. We wanted to find specific things, but in that, it's good because we can partner with a plumber who has a pipe burst and his client needs assistance. He doesn't do reconstruction, but he just wants to do the plumbing. Great, he calls us. Mitigation company, we do mitigation as well. We can come out to people's houses for flood losses and document it through the state. That's great, but we still partner with other mitigation companies who don't do reconstruction. And we help their clients also. And we can do that with any trade, right? So HVAC guy, you can get an electrician, pretty much anybody that's working on the property. We can typically work with them in some way and we can all make money. So it's really just, even friends, we pay referral fees to anybody who brings us a job. And so if one person brought me a property manager for the entire, in perpetuity of that relationship, they would get paid on every single job that went through. So we just try to be helpful to people and have this thing that makes a whole lot of sense, at least in my head. Hey, you can make some money. I can make some money. We do good work. Just trust us and let's see if we can, make something happen. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but oftentimes we find that that's a good lever because instead of going to multiple residential clients, we have one big client, multiple jobs, and that tends to be a little bit better, I think. At least it has been for us so far. We need more, but it's been good to us.
That's great. I love that perspective of partnerships and also that growth mindset that, hey, the money isn't limited. There's enough for everybody, and the rising tide raises all boats, as they say, right? Eddie, you shared a little bit earlier about, how to identify a partner who's, trustworthy, is honest, and that you can work well together. But on the other side, Gabriel just shared, there's a lot of people looking at you guys as partners, right? It's a relationship that goes both ways. How do you position HKM, and how do you interact with people to ensure that you are a great partner that they're identifying as well?
I think first of all, just being able to hang out with the person. If you go out one of our referral partners, we go grab beer every once in a while. We go sit down at a bar and we can talk and just hang out and be friends. We don't even have to talk about work at all. That's always great. So first of all, yeah, just being friends goes a long way because having friends is important. So if he's in a bind, I'll be able to help him out and vice versa, right? So
Yeah.
first of all, it's just being able to be friends with someone, and then second of all is I would say the communication. If I call you, it's okay if you don't answer, but at least get back to me that day. I understand you're busy, but if I call you for something and then you text me a week later like, oh, sorry, I forgot, then I can't really do anything with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a big trustworthy thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that, we shouldn't overlook the importance of those personal relationships. And I mean, I heard somebody say one time to me that was great advice is like, who you work with is more important than even what you do, right? I've had some jobs that were really cool, working with some people I don't really like to hang out with that made a great experience really suck. And man, I've had other jobs where the tasks I'm doing might be that not be that enjoyable or exciting, but I'm working with my best friends,
Mhm.
and so we're just having a great time together. And it sounds like you guys are fantastic partners and really do a great job with your clients as well, of course. Last question for each of you here. Gabriel, I'm going to start with you on this one. Is you guys are building something really impactful. It's amazing, the work that you do, people experience every day in their homes, right? And it's a big deal whether it's a remodel or whether, there's some damage and you guys are fixing that, and like helping these people have homes that they can really live in and be proud of. Gabriel, oh, Gabriel went off camera, so I'm gonna go to you to Eddie. It's the same question. Is
Okay.
what do you want people to remember about what you're building and the impact that you're making in this business?
Um, well, I've had some really great customers, honestly. You know, most I would say 75%, maybe, yeah, 75% of the work we do is someone that has experienced water damage or even a fire loss. Like we're doing a house in Grand Prairie right now, where most of the house got burnt down. So they don't have a home to live in right now, right? So if they can appreciate what we do for them, and at the end of the day when the project is over, they're really thankful for what we were able to do for them. That really goes a long way for me. Some people that are grateful for us to having come in there, help them make the process stress free, and also put back their home how it was before. um, that goes a long way. There's, like I said, there's bad customers where they don't really appreciate what we've done. They're always trying to take rather than appreciate what we were able to do for them.
Yeah, and Gabriel, same question to you. And you're helping people specifically a lot on this insurance side as well, right?
Hmm.
Walking through these annoying, frustrating, confusing situations. When you're ready to retire many, many years from now, what do you want people to remember about what you and Eddie have built and the impact you're having with HKM Construction?
I mean, as long as people know that we we were integrities, we did honest work, we did everything we could to help them. If they remember that, that's awesome. Getting I don't know. Sometimes we get lost in the jobs, but I do want people to feel like they were. It's kind of cliche, but kind of seeing, like like we're actually there listening to them, helping them through the process, not just another job. I want everybody to feel like we're actually there, focus on them and their needs as much as you can reasonably, right? Like Eddie and I can't be everywhere, but we'd like as much as is possible people to feel like they're appreciated because they are appreciated as clients, but we also know that we're
No.
We get a little bit of audio and internet issues there on the side of the road, which is perfectly fine. But Eddie, I'll round this out with you. I just want to thank you and Gabriel as well for being with me today. Last and final question is, how can people who are listening get in touch with you? And what are the best, I don't know, home situations where somebody should have you in mind and reach out?
Some of the best home situations.
As far as when somebody needs work on their home, what
Mhm.
specific situations should they call you, and then how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So honestly, like I said, a lot of the work we do is insurance restoration, right? So if you have water damage in your house, you have a fire, we go in there and mitigate the damage, and demo what needs to be demoed and put everything back how it was or even better. So because of that, that's how we did most of our work doing that. And because we were posting so much on like social media and stuff like that, it kind of just organically grew into more of a remodel side. So people would see us, and we would put back an entire kitchen together, or a bathroom, or entire house back together, and they would call us for just a remodel job, just freshen up their kitchen, maybe new floors, stuff like that. So yeah, if a customer, first of all, if you're experiencing, if you just went through an insurance claim, if you're in the middle of that, or if you ever have water damage in your house, if you have some fire, you could always give us a call. But also, if you need new floors, if you're trying to remodel your kitchen, if you're trying to remodel your bathroom, one of the biggest things we're trying to get into right now is more on the roofing side. There are a lot of roofers out there that want to just file claims just so they can get a payday. What we're trying to offer the client right now is periodic inspections, so we can identify when the damage happened to your roof. That way, you don't have any issues with the carrier when you do go to file that claim. And when we go out to your property and look at your roof, there might not be anything wrong with it, but we still want to inspect it periodically. Maybe after a big storm, maybe you had some hail in the area, we'll come by, inspect it completely for free, and then we can file a claim at the right time and walk you through that process so that you don't have any denials, no problems with your insurance company.
Oh yeah, that's such a great service. I mean, obviously you want to catch things early, but man, when you just know that there's nothing to worry about too, that roof is in good shape, that reduces a lot of stress. What's the best way to reach out to you? Is that phone, email, or something else?
Yeah, our company phone number is 682-382-8468. So that's our main line. You can reach us there. We do post a lot on social media, Instagram, Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at HKM_construction. And then our email is info at hkmdfw.com.
Awesome. Well, Eddie, I really appreciate you and Gabriel joining me today. It's great to learn about how you co-founded the business, how you've grown it, and love also all the insights of how you're really helping homeowners in DFW. Thank you again for joining me today on the Leverage Podcast.
Thank you, John. Appreciate your time.